bit of a backstory, and then also like her experience with volunteering with the eDNA project in the past. So go ahead, Eileen. Thank you. Oh, you're on mute.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I'm Eileen Gilligan. I'm a geologist, and I've volunteered for the Nature Conservancy for a while. I think my experience has started at El Dorado Preserve, and I took my two younger kids, who are actually the people in the center of this, the very center of the screen right now. We went up there and tried to cut down and dig out Phragmites. And then another year or two after that, we went back up there and did another patch of Phragmites, which was further from the shoreline of the lake. And then when my son was in high school, we went up there because there was a leaf program going on. Those were kids from New York City. Mary was in charge of it. Kids from New York City that came up to help build a boardwalk at the preserve. So this is a picture in the middle of my kids doing pounding nails on a boardwalk, and other leaf students further in the background with hats on. So we just have done projects like that, and it's fun, and it's really great fun, and it's outdoors, and it's, you're getting to see different parts of the state and different environments. And then when the eDNA program started up, I didn't take the kids along so much. It was just me, and it's not really a children's setting, at least not my children anyway, setting. It's more, work on a boat in a responsible kind of way. Essentially, the eDNA program is a research project. So there are preset ideas of how much water you want to collect and how to collect it. The Nature Conservancy has all the everything all analyzed ahead of time as far as how many bottles and where they want the samples collected. And we just follow instructions from the Nature Conservancy people, and we collect the water. It's not difficult. It's very organized. It's teamwork. So one person records locations, another person might be actually getting the water in the bottle, and another person would be putting labels on, getting things in and out of a cooler. It's all really very organized, very pre-planned, and you just do the best you can on that project. Then after the water's in the bottle and the actual sampling activity is over, then you have to transfer the water, pass it through a filter and collect the filter, and it's that filter that has the DNA on it and that would be analyzed in the lab. So that's my experience. Is that right, Mary? I mean, did you need more than that?
No, that's absolutely
okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you so much for doing that, and thank you for being on the call this evening. Next slide, please. I just wanted to say one more thing before we go on with this. Once we get closer to the date, also, and at any time, if anyone has any questions about volunteering or forms that we've got, recording your volunteer hours, anything along those lines, please reach out to me, and I'll do my best to answer any questions that you have.
Great, thanks, Mary. Thanks, Eileen. Oh, I just want to throw out my thanks. It's really great to hear someone from the other side who's volunteered with us for so long, that they've had such a great experience. And thanks, Mary, for helping make that program as strong as it is. So I guess Brittany and I can tag team this, but you've probably heard through our other webinars that we are seeking volunteers, which is why you're here today. So we do have some of the examples. Maybe Brittany, I'll do like the top three and you can grab the last three. So you may recall that as part of our project, one of the really exciting things that we got the funding for was to make a mobile eDNA trailer. So as Eileen alluded to, when you're out in the field, you grab a water sample, but then there comes the actual processing of that. And so the mobile lab is just that. It's being able to take this lab and do all the, kind of the nerdy stuff from after you grab the water sample to getting it ready to take it to the actual laboratory, for further analysis. So that would be the filtering, making sure everything's sterile, wearing your gloves. So we have ordered the mobile trailer. We do not yet have an ETA on when it will arrive, thanks to COVID, but when it does arrive, there will probably be some things that we could use help with, and just getting some of the final things set up in the lab to have it ready to go. Also, as Eileen alluded to, a large portion of this work will actually be grabbing water samples at our sites. And so on the left there in that photo, you can kind of see a really rough take of what that's like. So we grab water samples as well as replicates, and then we actually go through, you can see in the guy on the right, he has a little hand pump, so that's pushing the water through that filter to concentrate the eDNA onto the filter. So, given that our locations are spread from, the furthest south down near Oswego and then up north into the Messina area, we have a wide geographic spread to our site. So the more help you could get, the better. And then once we do grab these water samples, they need to be taken to the lab. So if, you're wanting to do something but aren't sure if maybe the water collection is quite up your alley, we could use help with that. Or if you're happening to drive by Oswego one day and we have some samples, any bit helps. So those are just some examples of what we could use volunteer help with. And I'll let Brittany talk about some of the others.
Yeah, thank you, Pippa. So for the other parts of this project, we are just also understanding that volunteers or anybody really has different skill sets. So one thing that's really important to our projects through either reporting to our funders or to sharing on social media or just saving information about our projects is being able to capture photos and videos. Sometimes we like to create how-to videos, so how to collect water samples, or just capturing the moment and the fun that people might be having while out in the field. We also like to work with our volunteers because they are really great at assisting us with information sharing. So sharing with other people why we're at those locations, why we're sampling, telling their friends and family about what we're doing, and just to help bring the community closer together to understand why the project's important and why it's important for volunteers to be involved. There's a lot of other ways that volunteers can get involved with this project. So if you or anyone on the line are watching this recording, you're like, well, these might not be my skill sets, but I have something else I can bring to the table. Reach out to Mary, reach out to Pippa, myself, or even Jacob. And we're more than happy to try to work with you to get you involved in our project and potentially improve our project just based on your volunteering hours with us. So yeah, if you're interested in doing any of this or adding some extra pieces to our puzzle, we're so happy to have you, and we look forward to working with you. Pippa, if you want to go to the next slide. So this is like the super layman's term. Okay, I know a lot of people are like, well, how am I going to sign up to volunteer, or when am I going to know where we're going? Before I go too far into Jacob, he's going to introduce himself in a moment. But basically, we'll probably have a calendar set up, and you can provide your availability on the days that people want to participate and assist us. And Jacob will also be creating a schedule of what sites we'll be going to, or he plans to go to each week. So he'll be the main contact for volunteering in the sense of, hey, we're going to meet at this time, this place. And then Mary will still remain the main contact for all volunteer hours or major questions about paperwork or anything like that. But Jacob's going to be your go-to guy for the field. So without further ado, Pippa, if you want to start his introduction, you can go to the next slide and I will mute. So thank you so much.
Great. So I guess Jacob, you have your camera on, right? Sorry, I don't see my little thing. Yeah, so give a little wave. Sorry to call you out. So if anyone can see a square, that's Jacob. So he's our new project tech. He's based out of Syracuse, and he's a graduate of SUNY ESF. And I'll turn over to Jacob to tell us a bit more about himself and his experiences. And I just want to say, Brittany and I are very excited to have him on board. This is a cool project, and I'm just a fish nerd and he's a fish nerd, so I'm very excited.
Cool. Can everybody hear me? All good. Yeah, thanks for the introduction, Pippa. Yeah, so I'm Jake, and I'm very excited to be working with everybody. This is a really, really cool project, and yeah, I hope to have some fun with everybody out there. Yeah, so I went to ESF and I got my degree in wildlife sciences, which you can also call wildlife management. And so it's primarily terrestrially based, but towards the end, I went to the dark side and became a fish nerd, and been doing all kinds of aquatic stuff ever since. Can we go to the next slide? Yeah, so some of my interests, broadly speaking, more on the freshwater side of things. I do think marine environments are really cool, but my experience is primarily freshwater at this point, and I enjoy it. And I think freshwater is a very important thing for not just me, but every human on Earth. So it has sort of that practical side to it as well. In terms of actual taxonomic background, primarily freshwater fishes and aquatic macroinvertebrates, so little invertebrates that you can see with the naked eye. And for the most part, most of the work that I've done with macroinvertebrates have been primarily larval insects. So your mayflies, your stoneflies, your caddisflies, dragonflies, fly, everything in between. I have been concentrating on a lot of data stuff over the last few years. So just with the way technology is changing, there's a lot more demands to work with data and to try and understand the very large amounts of data that we're able to get. So sort of has that practical side of it. Next slide, please. So yeah, going into some of my past work. So this was with the Onondaga Lake biomonitoring project. So I worked through the SUNY Research Foundation, and pretty much it was just all fish. Every single day we would just go out, set nets. We would do some electrofishing. And as you can see right there, the season I worked, we caught a lot of fish. So it was around 35,000 fish in total. But of course, qualifying it a little bit more, a lot of those being killifish and alewife, gizzard shad, and there's definitely a lot of goby in the lake. And I'm actually still friends with a guy who's still working on the lake. And I guess last year they caught around 50,000 fish. So they're definitely catching a lot of really cool stuff out there. I think the season I worked, we had to have caught at least 30, 35 different species. So it was a very rewarding experience. As you can see at the bottom there are sturgeon in the lake, and there are some big sturgeon in the lake. So it's really cool to see them. And yeah, next slide, please. And so my most recent job that I worked up until literally last Friday was with Onondaga Environmental Institute. And we do a whole lot of work in the Tully Valley, just south of Syracuse. That middle picture there, that is the outfall of a little channel that is stemming from one of the mud boils. So that's one project I worked on a lot. And it's kind of an unfortunate scenario down there. I won't go into strenuous detail about it. If you are interested, I'd definitely love to speak with you about it. But there's a lot of information online. The USGS has a lot of information pertaining to the mud boils, but that picture was actually taken last summer. And as you can see, that was probably the most severe I've ever seen it. And it's going straight out into the channel. So it was unfortunate to see that, but hopefully there will be some way to fix that in the near future. Picture on the left is actually a little brook trout that we caught in Onondaga Creek itself, which was exciting. And that fish was actually caught about 2 weeks ago or so. So it's really cool. And I was actually talking with Brittany earlier. There could be a possibility of through OEI, my past employer, they're interested in actually doing eDNA work on brook trout, and they're really interested in seeing if there are wild brook trout that are in the watershed versus all the stocked fish. So definitely a lot of applications of using eDNA, which is really, really cool. And I'm very excited to get more experience with that. And who knows, maybe turn it into a graduate thesis in the future. That'd be really cool. And then the last little picture there is just a giant sycamore that is pretty close to the mud boils. And it's the biggest sycamore I've ever seen in my life. So it's just really cool to put it in there. But yeah, I think that is it for me.
Great, thanks, Jacob. Fun fact about sycamores I learned the other day is that they're self-pruning. I'm not a plant person, but my neighbor taught me that, so that's pretty cool.
I have a quick question too, actually. How did you weigh the sturgeon?
Yes, so anytime we caught a sturgeon, we would take their total length, so from the tip of their nose to the tip of their tail. We would weigh them, and then we would check if they had a PIT tag, which stands for Passive Integrated Transponder, and it's a little subdermal tag that you put behind one of their scutes. Those are those bony plates. They can get really sharp, but you put it in behind one of the scutes, and you have a little wand that you can wave over it, and it will give you back, I think it's like a 24-digit unique code, so that if you were to catch a sturgeon, you have the ability to see if this is a sturgeon you've caught previously, and then you can utilize that data with whatever it is you're trying to track those sturgeon for. And we would also put a little Carlin tag on them. It's just a little tag that you put on their dorsal fin, just sort of as a backup. And yeah, so anytime we caught a sturgeon that didn't have a PIT tag or they didn't have a Carlin tag, measure them, give them those tags, and then send them on their way.
How much did it weigh?
The one in that picture, that one probably was, I don't know, 55 pounds. I think the heaviest sturgeon we caught that season was, I want to say around 75, between 75 and 80 pounds.
Wow.
It was more than likely a female. She was really big.
Mhm. Wow.
Great. So we've kind of done, a little high level overview of the volunteering, but today we really just wanted to connect with you guys and see what questions you may have, if there's specifics on the rules or about volunteering itself. It's kind of very open because we just want to make sure that, any concerns you might have are addressed. If you don't understand something or want to know more, like, we're here. So if you'd like to write into the chat or do the little raise hand function, we're more than happy to take your questions. Yes, Naresh.
Hey, Mary. Hi, everybody. I am with Arconic Messina. I actually just moved to the area from the Bronx, actually. So this is very, very new to me. Coming from the Bronx to Messina, it's like night and day. And I'm the HR manager here, and I have a lot of employees. So I would love to get them involved to volunteer. And if you could send me some information on what is required, the different roles, how I could get them volunteering, because we do a lot of volunteering too in the area. And if there's something we could help, I would love to get my folks
Yeah,
connected to you guys. Yeah.
that'd be great. And our September 2nd field day would be perfect. And that's open to your staff as well as any volunteer that's interested in attending. And as Brittany mentioned, we'll be going over like how to sample, how to look at the habitats that will be going in. And we also have some other kind of fun learning things lined up, some learnings on invasive species. So that would be a great step. And then as Jacob gets settled in, if they're interested in doing more continuous volunteering, then we can kind of get them on the roster and get them plugged in. So we'll definitely stay in touch and keep you informed of all the happenings.
And you said you're going to be in the Messina area September 2nd?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
And we'll probably make like a nice little flyer and send that your way.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then if you want to share that after you share it with your people, then we can get together, you know, depending on the amount and stuff. And there's been times that we've actually just kind of, you know, well, actually it's going to be different. September 2nd, that could be the time that we could do like lunch and all that kind of stuff. Because we've done that in the past when we've worked with other organizations. So yeah, and I can get together with you, Nash, when we get closer too.
Oh, very well. Thank you.
Yeah. And
Appreciate
welcome to
that.
the area too.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's lovely up here. You know,
It is.
Yeah.
All right, I see a question in the chat too. I recall a map of the sampling sites. Is it still available?
Yes, so those are in our webinars. That the slides should be online, but we could probably also make a way to have some of those materials available without having to go through the slides. But just as a recap, right now we have 15 tributaries. The further south being Oswego, going up the east coast of the Lake Ontario into the St. Lawrence and up to Messina, with the Cornwall area being really the furthest north. But yes, we can get a map to share. And if anyone has any questions on sites or anything like that, please do let me know.
If anyone has any other questions about volunteering, it's pretty quiet over there. We are happy to talk to you all over email and over the phone as well, and we can continue working together. So Jacob's going to be doing a lot of the legwork over the next couple of weeks, getting the scheduling set up and start doing some actual verification. So hopefully we'll have a sign up and everything else prepared at least before the September 2nd volunteer day.
And let me go ahead and share that with you too, Naresh, and you can pass that over.
Okay, great. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you guys for everything you're doing also. It's incredible.
Yeah, we're so excited for this project, and hopefully the volunteers on the line are also excited to come and hang out with us in the field too.
Yep.
I guess maybe, Mary, a question that someone might have, because I'm still learning about volunteering with TNC. Is there a minimum number of hours that someone has to volunteer, or how does that work?
No, actually, there's not. Not for this particular. We do have another program that does that, but not for this one. They can come, you know, one day. They can do multiple days. It's really at their discretion and what the volunteer is comfortable doing. Yeah. But we do have an online form to collect volunteer hours, and I'll share that, you know, with the volunteers once they sign up and stuff, and we'll get them onboarded with the proper paperwork and protocols.
I just got a chat in the inbox as well, and the question was about data. So just a question, if somebody volunteers, are they able to see the results of the data? And I can answer that, and the answer is yes. We're always very open with what our projects involve, and we always try to do webinars or create reports for people to see and share information on social media. So you can follow the Celilo Prism and the Nature Conservancy on social media, or if you're on our list for volunteering with the project, we will be inviting you to the final presentation webinar, which will happen after we're done with all of our sample collections.
And there's another question in the chat too. How long will a sampling session take?
Oh, did you want to go, Brittany, or do you want me to hop on?
You can go.
Okay. It's kind of tough to say because there might be the opportunity to sample some multiple sites in the same day. We're also looking at some sites we're going to be able to sample by land. We do have a few sites where we will need to use a boat. So all these kind of factor in to really giving a time estimate. I will say we're not going to like have you out there for 10 hours, like no sleep, no eating, and if you can only stay for a portion, if you're like, hey, I can help for 2 hours this day, we can, work that in. But it's tough to say like a standard number, just based on all those different factors.
It probably would be helpful to, if you choose to volunteer for the sampling portion, it's probably better to kind of put aside a whole day, like working hours, 7-8 hours. It probably would be less than that, but just for your own scheduling purposes. I'm not sure, Eileen, when you went, but I know when I did it, we set aside a date and, a whole work day and went out and spent the day on the water. So.
Yeah, I think that's about what we did too. And I can recall that the first day I did it, we spent like the afternoon filtering the water, collect the water in the first part of the day and then filter it in the afternoon. But maybe the process would be different if there's a lab nearby or, a processing area nearby.
Great question about transportation, Frank. Thank you. So we are actually in process of getting everything set up to work with a lab at SUNY Oswego. So that is where all of our samples will be delivered to. And we're excited to be working with a new partner, a new professor at SUNY Oswego. So.
I have a question, Mary.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
It's okay. So what territory do you guys cover? Is it just the northern country here or?
Well, actually, so the SLILO Prism covers 5 different counties.
Okay.
And it's the St. Lawrence, Eastern Lake Ontario. So I would say it's pretty much and you correct me if I'm wrong, the St. Lawrence County, Jefferson County, Oswego, St. Louis, and there's one more that I'm forgetting.
You're close. I was actually quizzing you. You got an A for effort. No, yeah, the Lewis County and Oneida County. So we include Oneida Lake all the way up to Cornwall Island, and then Lake Ontario, of course.
And for volunteering, what is the age? Is it like an age limit? Do you have?
For something like this, actually, we do work with youth, and we have all of our staff is youth qualified. So if someone did want to bring, but what I would suggest is probably 16 and over if you're going to go that route, just because of the nature of what's being done, and then being on a boat and stuff. I think that would probably be the better way to go. And if Brittany and Pippa, if you'd rather go with 18. That's fine. I was just thinking about, safety on the boat and trying to watch, someone's child at the same time as working. So.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, if there aren't any more questions, Mary or Pippa, if there's anything else you'd like to share, even Jacob, we can close out for the day if no one else has anything they'd like to ask.
Oh, but I think we're good. So yeah, unless there's any other questions, thank you all for attending. And oh, there is another question. All right, all training is on September 2nd. So we are doing that volunteer training day on September 2nd in Messina, and it'll be, like I said, like hands-on. We'll be there going through how to do the sampling, like the water collection. So yep, that will be our real like in-person event, but we'll also have information in case you can attend that on kind of like step-by-step methods. And then if you were to go out in the field, we also, won't just throw you to the wolves. We'll have staff there that would be able to help you that day. So you'll never not feel like you don't have a grasp on what you've signed up to help with.
All right, we all set?
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Hi,
See you
everyone.
later.
Thank you for
Thank
joining.
you. Bye-bye now.